Hello, and welcome back to Unboxing the Internet. I'm Judith, and with me is Monica and McKenna, and we are continuing to unbox the Marvel controversy.
Unbox the Internet.
Hello, I'm actually lost track. What are we, episode 4?
Episode 4.
Episode 4. So Judith did not allow me to game the box to get the question, to get to the conversation I want to have. We will get to it. McKenna is going to pick a comment.
Yes.
If that comment is redundant, I will make him pick another comment. But I won't make him pick comments until he gets to the one that I want. Because that would be wrong. Judith is a rule follower. Ooh, McKenna. You can actually read it.
So this comment is from YouTube by Joe Terre. If I say it wrong, I'm sorry, but it's going to be on the screen. You can pronounce it however you want. Okay. It's like Hillary's first campaign ad a year ago, which showed all these smiling people of color and two men holding hands in the final scene. It's almost like telling white, straight America that we aren't good enough and she needs to teach us about social justice. F-K, you, Hillary. You lost millions of votes the first day, and it was nothing to do with Trump or anyone else. Just your pandering to social justice warriors that make the rest of us sound like we're not for social justice or fairness.
There's a lot of that comment.
Definitely.
Thoughts? Does anybody else want to touch that one?
McKenna, did you want to start off with this before
Sure.
Monica and I start talking about Ghostbusters?
Yeah, no Ghostbusters allowed.
It seems like whenever somebody is a person of color or queer or even a woman, it's labeled as diversity and it is judged as that as well.
Yeah.
And it ignores anything else like storyline. Like this comment wasn't even talking about any of the storylines in Marvel. It's just talking about
Hillary
the
Clinton.
diversity. So that is a little troubling, but this comes up again and again. It's not just this single quote.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot we could talk about here. I mean, again, it gets back to this idea of diversity as a marketing point, right? That Hillary had these smiling people of color and two men holding hands in the final scene. I mean, I'm going to rant a little bit that sometimes on the internet people do things like, oh, they have a vegan, black woman who's a lesbian, and, and it's always this idea of box ticking. That it's just this empty, hollow exercise where we show smiling people of color and a gay couple, and that's so overdone. And I'm like, these people exist in the world. Like, you know what? There are more black vegan lesbians than there are rich orphan men who fight crime, and yet that doesn't bother you. And so I know I'm sounding a little ranty here, but to me, I'm like, I don't see those ads and go, wow, they just are ticking the boxes. It just looks like the world to me. And so, but if you do see it as ticking the boxes, then you're going to perceive any woman, any person of color, any queer person as an empty diversity exercise rather than just a reflection of what the world looks like.
Yeah. Something else there is that you might want to read what Red Skull's saying too, though it's from something you don't acknowledge exists. But that idea that comics are important because they are in touch with the real world and politics. Mm-hmm. Comics are part of larger social movements. Yeah. And what side of those larger social movements do you want to be on? One of the comments I read online was actually just a cut and paste of a Stan Lee response to someone in the 1970s. And the person had written in and said, why do you have to be commenting on the civil rights movement?
Why are you making white people look bad?
Why are you making
1970s.
And Stan Lee responded, because comics matter, and if we want the world to be a better place. We'll put the actual comment itself up so you can look at it. But it's really important that comics have been about social justice forever. Captain America originally existed to try and convince America to enter the First World War, that Hitler actually was bad and that something needed to be done about it.
Yeah.
And in 1941.
Yeah.
And
there's so much to say about that first comment.
yes.
But I will let McKenna say something.
Oh, I just found in my notes a commenter that is similar to the one that we read.
There were a lot that said this.
Definitely. This person's name is Not the End of the World, people. And he's commenting. He's commenting on IO9 saying, when every character is a person of color, woman, or LGBTQ, people get tired. And then this suggests that people are white, straight males, and that, as Monica was saying,
it's always other.
Yeah. Diversity doesn't represent the world, but it is a box-ticking exercise.
Can I just point out that I think it's hilarious that the person whose name is Not the End of the World is like, I'm really upset about these comics. It's like, read your name. It will help you.
And there was a commenter who commented back, thankfully. They're not all bad on the internet. This person's name was Colex, and he or she or they said, so when every new person is a person of color, woman, or LGBTQ, people get tired, but when every character is a straight white guy, nobody gets tired? In what world is that logical? And that's a good question to ask.
Especially since there's a lot of diversity within people of color, which is many, many different types of people, women, LGBTQ. That very fact that that's an acronym shows
Asians,
that
Asian Americans.
Yes.
I mean, there's many different ethnicities just in China
Yes.
alone. So I mean, I think that the always having a straight white male, and we never get bored of that. Because Chris Evans plays them, but that's a totally different comment. One thing we do want to address is, I think, the SJW label, which I don't really want to get into because it's, anyways, stands for Social Justice Warriors. Yeah. It's a derogatory term constructed by people on the right. I'm not saying that there aren't people who argue about social justice in ways that are tiresome and irritating, because humans can be tiresome and irritating in every political stripe. But unfortunately, it seems to get labeled every time you make any comment that is pro-diversity or left-leaning or perceived as liberal. That SJW label comes out, and it's really a way of sort of shutting down a lot of discourse. So I really don't like it.
Yeah, it also makes social justice into a bad thing.
Yeah.
Which, when you're talking about comics, which often are about good and evil, yes, the best ones do talk about the nuances and do make the difficulty, but you have, with great power comes great responsibility. You have Captain America. You have Captain America punching Hitler.
Yeah.
That idea.
Always a good thing. We can agree on that.
You have that idea that comic books are about good fighting evil a lot of the time, or about fighting injustice as well.
Well, the problem is they'll say, and I get it, like they'll argue that the social justice warriors are claiming doing good and fighting evil as their sole purview, and everybody else is racist and bad, right? And certainly there is, I would say, some stripe of people on the internet that do that, because there's every kind of person on the internet. But, and this might go into our Ghostbusters paper a little bit, is that all of you people on the internet who are irritated with being lumped in with racists, with, sexists, why aren't you calling them out? So if you don't want to be, lumped in with those sexist, racist comic book people, but you're agreeing with them or sharing space with them in these comment sections, it kind of makes me wonder why you're angry at the SJWs and not at these people who are saying, like, there's nothing in this box touching on some of the truly ugly comments that we saw, of which there were many. And so you can say over and over again, why does everybody call us racist? But when you're fighting on the same side as the racist, and more importantly, you're not calling them out in the comment sections. You're not saying, hey, we don't want you on our side. Shut it down, buddy. Makes it hard to sympathize with the why are we getting labeled racist. I don't know, that was my thoughts.
Yeah, and I think that's fair.
That will go over really well with everybody.
There is a diversity on both the left and the right.
Yeah.
So we're trying to engage with people who we may not agree with, but we think coming at the comics and coming at the problems they have with them fairly and genuinely.
Yeah.
And we aren't saying that everyone who doesn't like Captain America, everyone who doesn't
There
like...
isn't anybody who doesn't like Captain America. Judith?
They don't like Sam Wilson as Captain America.
True. They're also wrong.
So we're not saying everyone who doesn't like Sam Wilson as Captain America is
racist.
automatically racist.
No.
That's wrong. And there is diversity in taste. Those stories might not appeal to, his stories might not appeal to everyone. I've been enjoying them, but I haven't been enjoying them, say, as much as I enjoy Squirrel Girl or Vision or Mockingbird. Input, because that's more extended universe and I prefer more self-contained stories.
And I guess, my question would be for all, and maybe this is something for the comment section for people to talk about afterwards, but if you're not a racist and you're in a comment section and there's a whole lot of racists saying horrifically awful things, why don't you call them out? Do you think it's not your place to call them out? Do you not see that if they're sort of taking the same side as you, that you might have a responsibility to say, hey, by the way, totally don't agree with that racism. That's not the problem I have with Sam Wilson as Cap, and you need to get off the internet. That's enough for you today. Is that something you think is not your job? Because if it's only the job of social justice warriors to call out people for their racism, then we're really getting into this completely siloed place where we can't have conversations with each other, which we think is deeply problematic, to use an academic word.
Yes.
Thoughts, McKenna? We've talked a lot.
That's great.
Okay, I think that's probably a good place.
This is why I wanted to game the box. I wanted to game the box so we wouldn't get that comment. It is representative of comments on the internet, and so we have to acknowledge it.
We do need to deal with, and something which gets at the hood of why we're even doing this, because it isn't just about comic books. It is about the real world. It is about lived experiences of people, and people of all types. So we're hoping that
that's what unboxing the internet does. Is sometimes you find that.
Yes.
Thanks, McKenna.
So we'll see you next time. With any luck, it'll be a more fun and less fractious comment. So like, subscribe, comment on this. Let us know what you think.
Tell us if we're wrong.
Tell us if we're wrong. We're expecting lively debate in the comics section this time. Thanks so much, and hopefully you'll come back with a fun one.
Bye.
Bye.
Game in the box is what I'm doing.
Unbox the internet. Nerds will find a way. Unbox the internet. What's with kids today? Wonder Woman, Spider-Man. Look out now, I'm just a fan, but I've got something to say, and that's okay.